Hey, what is going on? Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Attack on Titan, the season 4, the final season, which, of course, like every other final season of everything, it's a two-part season. Um, so let me just give you. This is my first anime interview, not interview, recap, whatever. And so there are spoilers here, but I am almost certain that everybody has seen Attack on Titan who's watching this or any other review. And in fact, like I saw it when it first came out on Netflix in 2013. And I think it was first. It's been over a decade overall since then, and I really thought about doing anime reviews at that time, but I didn't think of a good process in the actual way to put these reviews out there. So forget about that history. Let me just talk about Attack on Titan. So Attack on Titan this last season, the new season is coming up soon, and that's going to be pretty damn good. I guess I'll just jump on the bandwagon and say it's amazing. It is an amazing show. Like I will say, amazing show and amazing manga. I believe it's considered. I don't know if the numbers serve me correct. It's like probably the most watched show in history, and I think that's like of all shows, like dramas, etc. Like even live action ones. I don't know if it's the most. It's up there though. It's definitely. It goes beyond what like the bounds of anime have. The fans have been defined by anime. It's going beyond the bounds of like standard anime for sure. It's a cultural phenomenon. It has been so for a long time. I watch it on Crunchyroll, and I don't know if it's if the new season will ever come to Netflix. But if I remember, the old season, the first season, just keeps appearing. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of talking about the last season and the first season, but I'm going to not start doing like super in-depth analyses just yet. Let me just freeform it a bit. So I'm just gonna start with the first season. The first season, if anybody recalls, is it seems like quite a simple story, like basic story where you have, it looks like a bunch of monsters invading your land, and the main character, who's a little boy, wants to defeat all the monsters. Seems to have a very simple, single-minded purpose. After he sees his mom, Aaron's the main character, he sees his mom Carla getting eaten by a Titan, and he goes to the training corps. And I feel like we're in like a very standard anime trope of like I've seen many clones like that. I started seriously watching anime around that time, and I've seen many clones of this kind of basic concept in other anime, right? Like so, if you've seen Gurren Lagann, if you've seen Darling in the Franxx, which came out like several years later, I mean, there's just like there's these monsters invading a land, and you have to go defeat the monsters, and the story becomes slightly more complex, but in the end of the day, like the outline of the story is the same. So for Attack on Titan, like I can't emphasize, for those who are not familiar with the show and who just think it's another anime. I don't know if there's anyone still out there who just does. It's an extremely like way more complex world and plot than you can actually imagine if you go past the first season. And I have to say that I read the manga, and part of the reason that kept me watching season after season was the manga like was quite compelling, and the show is quite compelling, and obviously the production value that Studio Mappa and Studio Wix have brought to the show are like wow. Anyway, okay, back to level setting my what I'm talking about. So, yeah, first season is like, you know, the Survey Corps are joined by Eren. You start to see conflicts between the different corps of the cores of the towns of the town of Paradis, right? You see that there's these walls that have to be breached, and the Titans are progressively breaching each wall with the help of these very special kind of Titans, the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan. And again, the plot becomes like looks simple at first until you find out that the Titan that actually Eren gets eaten by a Titan because he's trying to save his friend, and then actually becomes a Titan. And to me, when I saw that scene, I remember being like, "Wow, that was totally like, where did that come from?" That, I mean, there are surprises in like anime, but I remember that being cached in my memory as like a huge surprise. Like he became this Titan thing, and then he became a Titan shifter, and he could actually fight against the other special Titans out there, as opposed to the mindless Titans. So anyway, the Titans progressively start to breach the walls via the help of the mindless abnormal and the mindless pure Titans, and eventually you find out that the Titans, there's also the female Titan makes an appearance, and you find out that the Titans are actually their friends, supposed friends. Now you don't know the motivation for the betrayal, the apparent betrayal at this point. You just know that the Titans, the friends of in the Survey Corps, have betrayed, so have essentially betrayed Eren, and so the final battle ensues for the season, etc., yada yada, and throughout the show you kind of like get the story of Bertolt, you get the story of Reiner, and you get the story of like you up till like I think that the second from last season, you're still relatively confined to this world of the Titans. Like you just can't wait to get to the basement, essentially, because you have to get to Grisha Yeager's basement, where the real story behind the Titans is supposedly held. And when you get down to the basement, like I think what's his name, the captain, and real fans of the show would kill me if they remember, but if I forgot his name or butchered his name, but it's just been a while since I've watched that season, and he was an integral part of like all the seasons, right? So, and also Armin was sacrificed. Armin was saved by ingesting the Colossal Titan, by ingesting Bertholdt as a pure Titan, and the captain was not. And that decision was made for several reasons, which some fans agree with, some fans don't, but ultimately even Armin doesn't agree that he should have been saved at many points, right? Like, so I don't think Armin really agrees at all, like that he was the more valuable person to save. But I mean, the point is, you get to the basement finally at the end of the previous season, and then like you start to see the details about like the bigger world. Like they don't really talk about the bigger world. They don't give even hints about the bigger world, right? But you're still throughout the series like confined to Paradis, and I really enjoyed that, because I was like, wow, that's like the next season starts where you have like you see Marley, and you see the situation in Marley, and you start to see like the whole creation of the Titans, right? You start to see the subjects of Ymir being injected with the serum, Titan serum, and them turning into Titans, and then essentially wandering the desert. And essentially you also see Titans being unleashed. You see Marley, which is Paradis, the Eldian Empire's arch nemesis country. You see them unleashing Titans, right, by dropping people, right, of all variants, volunteers, many of them, and you see them get injected with Titan serum. Interesting thing about that in the season, the first episode, where you're introduced to Gabi, right? You're introduced to an entire new character set. You're introduced to essentially like the kids, the version of the kids who are the main characters, Mikasa, Armin, and Gabi in the new Marley, right? And so what's great about this is that like, you can imagine this, like I was watching this season arc, and like I could have imagined it going a million ways. Gabi kind of is similar to Eren, right? Eren Yeager. Like there's like a she has like a gung ho attitude. She only cares about well, she's similar, she's different also, but she believes in the superiority of Marley. She believes that the Eldian Empire is full of devils, right? The island devils of Paradis, and she also, wants to advance through the ranks. She's relatively single-minded. She's willing to take the risk to advance through the ranks. She's a specially trained cadet in the Marley military, and you start to see like town life. You start to also see how advanced Marley is compared to people on Paradis who have essentially not been allowed to advance. Their memories have been wiped, right? And you also learn a lot of things. Like I've skipped also. There's so much in this series. It's like unbelievable. But basically, just recalling. You can't go over the whole thing. But the memories of the Eldians have been wiped because essentially King Fritz, I guess the 145th king of the Eldian Empire, didn't want to. He wanted to essentially broker peace with Marley and the rest of the world, and he had essentially created the Wall Titans to live millions and millions of these massive, but not as massive as the Colossal Titan, but appearing very similar to the Colossal Titan, but massive Wall Titans living in the walls and comprising the walls of Marley, which are just, no, it's not Marley, sorry, of Paradis, which are just like the three concentric rings, Wall Maria, Wall Sheena, and Wall Rose, which were the names of the children of King Fritz and Lady Ymir. Okay, Ymir Fritz, which is the source of all this. And now you actually get introduced to Ymir Fritz in the last season. You find out that she's some kind of like, she's become some kind of like parallel dimensional ghost in the coordinate world that essentially doesn't follow time. And she crafts all the Titans by hand, year after year after year after year, and time passes in an instant there, which could pass like years could pass in the coordinate, where in the outside world time passes instantaneously. So it's a non-temporally aligned dimension. So the coordinate and the coordinate paths intersect essentially, where Ymir creates Titans by hand. Still basically based on the orders of King Fritz, which you learn, you learn about Ymir's history. She was just a slave that she was blamed by her fellow slaves for going and killing a bunch of, or for stealing a pig. And she was running for her life, being hunted by King Fritz and for sport. And she found actually something, right, which is still, if you watch the manga, like honestly the thing isn't really described. Like the lore in the story is she met the devil of all earth, right? In the manga it's the source of all life or something. It's some kind of freaking weird centipede thing that just appears without question in the first part of the last season, and like absorbs into her and gives her the power of the founding Titan, which she uses to crush Marley's enemies, make Marley powerful, make King Fritz powerful. And then eventually, 13 years after, if King Fritz rewards her by turning her into a concubine and having her bear his children, and then she gets killed by a sphere while trying to save King Fritz's life 13 years later, after she's helped build Marley into a powerful nation, but still as a willless slave of King Fritz and Marley, and she gets killed, and then her children devour her, and that's you get the whole like explanation for the devouring of the Titan shifters, like passing down through the children of Ymir, right? You get, or the subjects of Ymir, you get the whole like consumption thing of passing the power of the Titans down, because her power was passed to her children, and her children were consequently named Rose, Sheena, and Maria, and that's just hearkening familiarly to the walls of the walls in the city. So in Paradis. So you have like basically whatever. So okay, so basically you have, let's get to like some analysis of the last season. The last season is so hard to talk about without talking about like the rest of the show, but like at this point in time, like you get the final Titan shifters introduced, including the Warhammer Titan, which is like I think like probably one of the, to me, one of the best done Titans. The Jaw Titan. Well, the Jaw Titan was in previous seasons, but you get like, you know, Galliard's version of the Jaw Titan, and you get who the Jaw Titan is the only one that can break the Titan hardening, I guess, which Eren, who is now older, like the story is displaced. You kind of see like how later on how the Survey Corps' main team, the heroes, the protagonists, get over to Marley and on boat, right? Like you see, it picks up like later. You see one of the last episodes of the first part of the last season show like how they get to the island, right? Or sorry, they get to Marley. You see Marley's intentions. You see Willie Tybur, essentially, who the Tybur family, who are the inheritors of the Titans. You see him get killed when Eren transforms. You see the Titans, essentially, Eren's attack Titan destroying Marley. You see Marley getting revenge, essentially. You see Sasha dying at the hands of Gabi, who shoots her. And then you see Gabi getting captured. You see the rise of Yelena, right, and her plot to essentially allow Zeke, who's, you know, you all know who Zeke is, but I'm going to say it anyway. Zeke, who's Eren's brother, Grisha's first son, who he abandoned, his plan to euthanize the Eldian Empire, right, by essentially like allowing them never to produce again by asking Ymir to give them take away their ability to reproduce, because she can control all the subjects of Ymir at will. But then you find out later that essentially his plan is to also connect with Eren, and just recalling what the rumbling is. The rumbling is basically a threat that the 145th king of the 145th king of Eldia would unleash should Paradis ever be attacked, where he would he would summon the power of the Titans from the walls and cause all the millions of Titans hidden in all of the walls of Shingana. I'm sure I'm butchering the name, but that's of the city, Trost, etc. All the walls that surround Paradis, and they would go, and then they would like flatten the entire Earth. And I think Zeke wanted to create like a small version of the rumbling to like threaten, possibly destroy parts of Marley, and then like cement the position of the, you know, because like he wanted to get rid of the Eldians, essentially their ability to reproduce, just, you know. And that's the thing, Zeke's plan was supported by Yelena, but Eren was apparently the mastermind of all the plans, essentially. So Eren has his own plan, where he wants to literally destroy everybody in the world except Eldia. He wants to recreate the Eldian Empire, because he said that, I mean, his thoughts are thoughts that probably a lot of people have, generally, who don't know how to deal with conflict well, and think that like there's no actual resolution. His is complete nihilism, that the only way to deal with your enemies is to destroy them completely before they can destroy you. And that's where the complexity of his character actually comes in, because you don't realize that the Attack Titan has the ability to see into like the future or in the past. So he was able to see at some point all of these events transpiring, and he was able to complete the cycle. So essentially, you know, there's in the coordinate, time doesn't make sense, and in the coordinate you can go into the past. And Zeke wasn't aware that you could influence past events. He became quite surprised when you could. So Eren went along with Zeke when Zeke was showing him different events in his past, specifically mostly around Grisha, their father, Grisha Jaeger's kind of involvement in this, and Grisha Yeager essentially, like, so basically we have to just harken back to the plot a little bit. I'm gonna do we're gonna have to harken back to the current Eldian royal family line and Historia and all that, but I'm not gonna get into that now. Let's just quickly wrap up because I'm almost done with this review from the last season. Last season was crazy good. First part was crazy good. It's coming. The second part, the final episodes of the last season, the final season, are coming out soon. In a few days, probably. It's February now. The last episode was a cliffhanger, obviously, but it's basically Marley about to get stomped out by Eren's founding spinal, massive Titan founding form. Which looks like the most horrific thing, and obviously done purposefully to be horrific. And yeah, so you see all the Titans swimming over to Marley. You see Marley's line of ships barely killing any of those colossal wall Titans, and the wall Titans burning through the ships and about to stomp onto the land as all the soldiers are futilely trying to run away. All those wall Titans can run faster than horses, and you pretty much know everybody in Marley and then beyond is screwed. That's what everybody wants to. That's what the goals have been realigned for the heroes, essentially to stop Eren for the most part. But most of this season was focusing on them defeating the people who sided with Eren, the Jaegerists as they're called. Led by Flock, who was a timid guy in the first seasons and became like a formidable commander, and who a lot of props are given to. And yeah, he did a pretty good job, but you can't stop all the good guys. You can't stop Mikasa's blades. You can't stop Ackerman firepower. You can't stop Jean. You can't stop the Survey Corps. So they got what's coming. Plus, you couldn't stop the Titans. Annie comes back into this season, which is a pleasant surprise, and you find out that she's not a completely heartless person, that she has her reasons for essentially wanting. She hates everybody, basically, but she has personal reasons for not wanting Marley to be destroyed, only a very personal reason, and therefore she joins with the team. She joins with the Eldians to go and try to do that. So that's it. I will continue on talking about that. I didn't give much analysis, but I will go back when I watch the other episodes of Attack on Titan, and I will report back. And I hope you enjoy. I'll see you around.